Hey everybody, welcome to our show. My name is Jonathan Tripp. I'm the host of our show, and I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching us. And if you're watching us on the replay, I'm sorry you missed out, but we do record the show live in Fire Talk weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And I don't know what that translates to all around the world, but I do find that we have a good selection all across Europe and all the way through the States and Canada and things like that. But for those of you guys that are here, it's great to see you. Thank you. Today's show, we're going to be talking about hopefully kind of some fun things, but we're going to be talking about 4 ways to make your content more share worthy. Not necessarily shareable, and I was talking about this in the pre-show, where it's not just the tools. I'm not really here going to be talking about so much the tools, because there's lots of them and there's lots of blog articles and things like that. And I find that when we don't start with the right content ideas, and then even just the formatting of it, and it's to some degree, then we move quickly right through that, right over to the tools. And we want to use the tools to get the message out. And when it doesn't work, we blame the tools, but really, it's the content. So I want to talk today about 4 ways to make your content more share worthy. So now, having said that, guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you would like to be a part of our email community, please do so. Our email community, the easiest way to watch it is over at jonathantripp.com/better social. And that's the beginning of our email community. I would encourage you, go over there, just click and join, and you guys will get notified. You will not get bombarded, but you will get updates on the different shows and the different topics and guests that are going to be coming up for Jonathan Tripp Live. So without much more ado, let's get started. There are 4, and I'm just gonna. This is horrible podcasting presentationing method. I'm going to tell you all the good stuff up front. Okay, here are the 4 that I think. These are the 4 ways to make your content more share worthy. Okay, 1, it is in the detail and the length of the article, the post, the blog, the infographic, whatever it is. The detail and the length, those are crucial. Screenshots are another one. Those are another key aspect of making your content more share worthy. Actionable steps to take, giving people action steps. Don't just tell them the theory of it. Show them and give them actually 1, 2, 3s. Okay. And then the last part of this is the real life examples. And I want to go through each one of these. Okay. So the first one that we talk about is the detail and length. Okay. And we've heard this so many times. How many of us know about these blog articles where, the 60-word blog articles, right? And they have a place, and they're kind of counterculture. They're meant to be so short, but more like thought-provoking. You don't go terribly deep. There's not a lot of meat to it, so to speak, right? But the detailed, the ones that have, they've gone in and they've taken the time to talk about their topic, to outline and to share. It has enough length that it takes time to digest it. And I know that actually seems more like counterculture now, right? Because we want things quick, fast, and easy. But when it comes to digesting information, sure, we want it in a way that we can consume it, but there are certain topics and certain things they actually just take time to explain. It takes time to learn how to do certain skills, learn certain things. But when you come across an article that is taking the time and is careful to outline it, show you the ins and outs of it, and not just say, well, you just make a post. Oh, you just say this, or you just say that. And in the broadest sense, those are kind of good. They kind of whet your appetite. But then when you start reading the article, you realize there's nothing else in that. That's the whole gist of it. You kind of leave feeling a little empty, feeling a little betrayed, I think. So I think this. Okay, I think that those articles, and they don't necessarily always have to be 5,000 words or something like that, but giving detail on your particular topic is important. Don't gloss over it. Take the time. Write it out. Write out maybe 2, 3 paragraphs. It's okay. You know, when you do your first draft, it's okay to go back through. And I know there is several writers out there that are actually watching this show right now saying, "Yep, I know exactly what you mean." The first draft should never, almost, I don't know. The first draft, they say, should never get published. The first draft is your first draft. Go just put something down on paper and start to as you write the process, you'll find out what those important details are. Okay? Don't worry about making it too lengthy. Break it up, maybe, but keep it, but don't worry if it ends up being a 2,000 word blog post, that's okay. That is okay. Don't shy away from if you see it being that long, then I would encourage you to take some time and format it out. Make sure that it's relevant in all of its parts, but the detail and the length are a big part of what makes something worth sharing. Because if you take the time to write all those things out, not necessarily all 2,000 words may be relevant for every single one of your audience members, just like today's show. There are 4 ways, but maybe you're only going to key in on maybe items number 2 and 3. You may say, oh, 4 is that number, that's the one I've been missing, or that, oh, now I understand. You may only get one part of it in the same way that your audience may only get one part of your content. So that's the first one, detail and length. Detail and length, I think, are the first things to make your content more share-worthy because it actually has content. Okay. The next one I want to talk about was screenshots. Okay, screenshots, I think nowadays more than ever, they do a couple of things. One, when I see a screenshot, I'm seeing something that is real. Even if it's set up and it's planned, and that's fine, but I'm seeing actually from almost like it's a first person point of view. I feel like I'm sitting in front of your computer, the teacher's computer, the instructor's computer screen, and I see what they're seeing. So when I want to duplicate the process, or when I want to learn the craft or practice my skill, I can actually look at that. Video is great as long as the video is edited well, right? And you can see what's on the screen. But when you see somebody's screenshots, you're able to use that almost like it's a template for your own. And people love it. It becomes, see, now it has something that's a valuable content. That's something that's helpful to your viewer, because they're able to even contrast what they have to what you're doing, and they're able to find and critique it and find that one thing that may be different. But screenshots give a lot of credibility to a blog article or a video or an Instagram post or whatever the case is. The screenshots really help a lot because I think they bring that first point of view. It brings credibility because you actually know what you're doing. You're showing. The other one, let's talk about real life examples. And this is maybe there's a little bit of a nuance difference between the screenshots and the real life examples. Real life examples really stress more on this way. When you would say, for instance, my email marketing campaign received a 60% open rate and a 30% opt-in rate. That's great for this industry, or it only took me, in 2 weeks I made $20,000, whatever the, fantastic, extraordinary claim was. That's good to make a claim, but when you show me real life examples that, hey, I did this and this was the result. It doesn't even have to be a marketing example for that. It could be a real life example. People are always doing this with DIY projects. Okay, they're doing it with cooking or gardening projects. We're able to show in actual real life. This is me. And sometimes I love it how the lighting is just a little bit wrong. How maybe if they're doing a video, the camera's just a little bit wobbly. It feels a little bit more authentic. But the whole point really is that it's not a hypothetical. It's a real case. You can add people, places, and names and stuff like that to it. It gives it the credibility. And that's where I think a lot of consultants fall short, is that they don't want to. Maybe they're concerned with sharing details about their clients, but I think the real point really is that you as a viewer and as a new viewer for a content, you want to make sure that this is real. Is this something that I can actually do? Are other people doing it? And when you provide real life examples, it gives the credibility factor through the roof, and people are more willing to share your content. Okay, so we've talked about the detail and length. We've talked about screenshots and real life examples. The last one, the action steps. All right, how many of you guys have read an article and it's been full of information, and then you get towards the end and you don't quite know what to do with it? Something about it, you don't quite, it's not fulfilling. It's not it's not working for you. You know what I mean? And I don't know. You just can't. And then afterwards, you realize all it was just a bunch of information, and they don't allow the writer didn't, or the videographer didn't actually give you the ability to do something with that information. And that's really a big problem. That's a really big problem for content producers, because if you don't give your audience a call to action, give them action steps, tell them, hey, look, in 3 steps you can do this. Now, I know today's show is geared a little bit different because we're actually talking about the call to actions and the tools and things like that. This is the pre-step for that. So my call to action today would be something similar to, let's see. Our call to action would be review these 4 steps of making your content more share-worthy and see how your content stacks up. Are you stopping yourself from being from producing share-worthy content? I don't know. All right. So we went through those four steps, and I'll just quickly review them right now. Pardon me. We talked about the detail and length of an article. That has a lot to do with the value that people see in it. Is there actually something in there? We talked about screenshots and how they put the reader in the first person position where they feel like they're looking that over the shoulder feeling. Then we talked about real life examples. And when we see somebody else doing it, we feel more apt and more able, empowered to be able to do it ourselves. And the last one is the action steps. Creating, no matter what your content is, give them an action step. And I think that's super important as we kind of go forward. Using a lot of the other social media tools are great, but if we don't have the good content set up in the right way, all the tools in the world will just give you modest results. And honestly, in the end, you're going to feel frustrated, and you're probably going to end up either quitting or blaming the tools, and you're going to run around in circles. So those 4 things, I think, are 4 really good ways to be aware of how to make your content more share-worthy. All right. And so having said that, though, what is our call to action? Our call to action is going to be twofold. One, if you have not already joined our Facebook group, please do that. The easiest way is to go over to group.jonathantripp.com. You'll get to see the latest in the new content, all of our new episodes. But it's a great place to get together as a community. People are always asking questions. So it's a great place to connect with other viewers of the show. Okay, and then the other one is please help support our Patreon page. The Patreon page, the easiest way to get there is over at patreon.jonathantripp.com. This is the site, this is the way that if you want to help support the show for even as little as maybe $1 a month, $5 a month, it helps produce the show weekdays at 10 o'clock. As we kind of go forward, that's another great place. So you get discounts, you get other kind of like early bird specials on some of the seminars and other things like that, either produced by me or by other guests. You're able to be a part of that. So go over there, give us a support. I'd really appreciate it, and I want to say thank you for that. That I'm going to kind of close out our show today. We're going to be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, that's our weekly wrap-up. It's going to be the anti-trending news weekly wrap-up. All right. I feel that so much of what's going on right now in the news has been so trendy. I wanted to talk about it, but tomorrow is going to be our weekly wrap-up. We're going to kind of touch base on a lot of things and some of the highlights of the week. It's a show you don't want to miss, but you definitely want to bring your coffee. So I want to encourage you guys, join us tomorrow for that. So with that, I'm going to say, guys, thank you so much for all of your support. And we will join us tomorrow at 10 o'clock for our next show. And in the meantime, guys, I will see you in Fire Talk Live. Thanks, guys. Take care.